Rajesh Jejurikar, the Executive Director, Auto and Farm Sectors at Mahindra and Mahindra, joins in now. Talk about that. Mr. Jejurikar, hope you're well. Thanks for joining in on the show. Before I talk to you about tractors, I have to ask you about the EV, the XUV 400 that's launching this month. Are you on track with it? What kind of production are we looking at? And what are the initial estimates?
Sonia, you're going to have to wait a little bit around that because we do the reveal tomorrow evening. We have a whole plan chalked up on how we're going to get customers to engage around this product over the next few months. So wait and watch it. It goes live tomorrow, the reveal, tomorrow evening, 7:30 p.m. India time. And I think it'll be a very, very fun experience. So we'll just hold back. It's not too far away from now, so we just hold back. More on that starting tomorrow evening.
But I couldn't contain my excitement given that this is, the first EV. And of course, this whole range has done exceptionally well, right? The XUV range. But coming back to that later, on the tractor side, after 2 months of a degrowth, we're finally seeing some pickup. But there's a lot of volatility in the industry, especially with the way the monsoon situation is panning out. So I wanted to understand from you, what are you noticing on the ground? Do you think this single-digit growth is something that you can continue over the next few months?
Yeah, so I'm going to break the question into two parts. One is understanding the underlying factors impacting the industry, and the second is specific comments around the group that's happened so far. So first let me take the second part, which is our growth in June and July. I don't think that's really the right way to look at the data because last year, the April and May months were impacted by COVID, and we then saw a big upside in June. This year, the sales have been even through, and Q1 saw a very, very healthy growth across April, May, June. Now, June was obviously a correction, and you have the data coming up on the screen. I can see where you saw the big swing up in April and May, and then June and July in a way corrected for that. So we still have a healthy cumulative growth when you look at the industry. We are at around 8-9% growth. So I think that's in the tractor industry, looking at any 1 month in isolation never really gives you a perspective on understanding the industry. So now to the first part, which is what are the underlying factors impacting industry. The April-May saw a benefit coming out of the wheat exports, which the government had permitted. That kind of got withdrawn, and there was some impact of that. What we are seeing in the last 2 months are a few positive drivers. One is the monsoon has been by and large very, very good, except for 2 or 3 states in the east, which are seeing a deficit. Overall, monsoons have been extremely positive. The second positive driver is government spending in rural India, which had been very slow for the first 4 months or so, has started kicking in. So we are seeing cash flows improve in rural India on account of that. Thirdly, the prices in the mandi are higher than they have been in the past. And we have been in the last few months talking about a negative terms of trade for the farmer. And we see that reversing as well. So, as we get into the festival season, we would look at it with optimism. We have said that we should end the year for the full year with a 3 to 5% growth.
Okay, hi Mr. Jejurikar. Let's focus on the tractor space itself since we're focusing on that. You're the market leader in the tractor space, but a smaller player, if you look at the VSC tillers, they're going for a professional CEO. If you look at Kubota, they in fact, are trying to be a little bit more aggressive. How do you think things will shape up? Are you confident that you can hold on to that market share?
Yeah, even this year, Nigel, we've gained a 0.9% market share cumulative April to August, and we gained market share last year as well. So we continue to be very strong in this space. We have 2 brands, Swaraj and Mahindra, both strong. Several new products and offerings coming up, which have upgraded our technology. So we are very positive about our market position and our market momentum.
So you're saying that you're holding on to this growth guidance for the industry, right, of 3 to 5%. Don't you think you can do better, considering that the monsoon situation is picking up? As you said, government spending after a very long time has picked up. Or are you just being conservative?
Sonia, in the tractor industry, it's very hard to take a longer term view. And when I'm saying longer term, all the way up to March. But our view at this point of time remains the same, similar to what we had a month back, which was 3 to 5% growth for the industry. Depending on how the festival season actually pans out, we may take a fresh look at that growth estimate sometime in the end of October after the festival season, early November. So we'll wait to see how that happens. But right now, there are several positive indicators.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about utilization levels then, Mr. Jejurikar. Tell us what is the current utilization levels, and let's break it up into PVs, CVs, as well as tractors. If you could give us a brief number out there, demand will follow, but I just want to understand current capacity and utilization levels that you're functioning at.
Yeah. So Nigel, we have said that, I'm now talking about the SUV space first. In November, we are planning to put out a capacity ramp up that we will, execute over the next 12 to 18 months. That would give a stronger perspective on how we're adding capacities on the SUV side. Clearly, we are using all our capacities on the SUV side. We have a very large waiting period, and we're doing everything possible to bring that down. You've seen numbers move up even month on month as we are improving capacity utilization. New products are coming in, and some of the supply challenges that we faced in the past are getting, we're overcoming those challenges. So that's on the SUV space where we are using everything that we have. We have a large wait period, and the endeavor is to bring that down as quickly as possible. In the CV space as well, we've seen a very strong momentum in our pickup portfolio. We've launched a new small city pickup a month back, which is again seen very good momentum. We've had a pickup growth of over 70% in April, August this year, and in that segment we are a very, very strong player with over 60% market share.
Okay.
So in the commercial vehicle space as well, we have not only are seeing a good demand momentum, but we are also seeing a very strong growth. I'm not giving a specific number on capacity utilization. On the tractor side, we just spoke about that, and we've announced that we are setting up a new plant for Swaraj, which will come up sometime in the course of next year. And we are at a fairly high level of capacity utilization on the tractor side as well.
What about on the margins for tractors? In Q1, your tractor margins fell to a multi-quarter low, is sitting at around 16% or so. You had done 18-20% margins for a very long time, and now that commodity prices have cooled off, you think you could get to that level anytime soon?
Margins are impacted by commodity prices going up, of course, and you're right on that. We've said that the effect of boosting commodity prices takes time, because we, maybe having opening inventory at a certain price, and then there is contracts which we have, which has protected us when markets were going up. So we would hope to see some effect of that come on this in the second half of the year. But the one thing that we have to keep in mind is when revenues are high or per unit selling price is high, and we haven't been able to pass on the margin on the material cost, what we have been able to pass on in a phased manner is the actual material cost, then you lose a margin as a percentage because you haven't added the margin completely on the material cost. So right now, when commodity price inflation has been like it has been over the last 18-20 months, in the range of 17-18%, it's not been we haven't been able to pass on the margin on top of the material cost itself. And if you don't do that, then you start seeing a couple of percent impact on the margin just on account of the fact that you didn't add the margin to the material cost increase. Does that clarify something? So the couple of percent difference you see also comes on account of that.
No, I didn't get the number. By the end of FY23, what are we looking at in terms of margins, considering that now, on an average, 16-70% you think is something that will last through the course of the year?
Unfortunately, we don't give guidance on margins, Sonia, so I'm going to avoid having to respond. I would have to avoid responding to that specific one. But again, going back to fundamentals, commodity prices will ease off, and we are taking several actions to manage our costs. But that being said, there is the effect of the margin on the material cost itself, which hasn't got passed on, so that does affect the margin. When you look at it, doesn't affect the absolute profit, it affects the margin.
Yeah, Mr. Jejurikar, you had mentioned about the tractor industry growing by around 3 to around 5%. You maintained that as well. But various reports indicate that the dealer levels, at the dealer levels, you have tractor levels, the inventory levels are rather high. The various factors that are being cited is uneven distribution and the likes, and some price increases as well. Could you clarify on that? First of all, have you taken any price increases, say in Q2? And also, if you could tell us, what are the inventory levels at dealers?
Yeah, so we have taken a price increase in Q2, and we're taking some right now at the moment as well. On the specific question of inventory, Nigel, inventory normally, the pre-start of the season, there has to be an inventory build-up. It always happens that way. This time the season starts early, so 26 September is when Navratri starts, and that's the peak selling season. This time we get Dussehra and Diwali both in the month of October. So typically it is very common to build inventory up at this time because there the customer is not waiting. You have to have inventory on the ground to manage the demand that comes in. So it's the inventory build-up at the moment is not out of norm. It is the kind of inventory that you have getting into season.
Okay, all right. And the price increase you said, could you quantify it?
About 1.5%.
1.5%. Okay. We can't let you go without asking you about the hot segment, right? What's happening with SUVs. And you've done exceptionally well over there. Just wanted to understand, have you gained market share in the utility vehicle segment? If yes, what is it right now? How much was it, say, about a year ago? And what is the order backlog currently?
Several questions there. So yes, we've gained market share. We measure market share in two ways. We measure volume market share, which is the SIAM definition, where we gained about 50% market share this year. We are the number 2 player by volume in the SUV segment now, where we were number.
Sorry, I didn't get the SUV market share. How much did you say it was? How much have you gained?
In about 4 points.
4%.
We're close to about 17%.
Okay.
That's the volume. But we've also started measuring revenue market share, and we do that based on price data that we get from Jato Dynamics, which is a very well-renowned global data analytics firm for auto businesses. And as for the revenue market share, the last 3 quarters we've been number 1. The reason we're focusing on revenue market share as well is the average selling price of our products is significantly higher than some of our competitors. And we think that we should be factoring that into how we review and target our performance. So last 7 or 8 months, we've been number 1 by way of revenue market share in the SUV space, and number 2 by way of volume market share. So even if you look at volume market share, we are a significant player with a small gap between player number 1 and number 2. By way of the order backlogs, we will start deliveries of Scorpio and starting 26. As you know, we have over 100,000 orders there. And if you look at the rest of our portfolio, we have over 100,000 orders there. So it's actually a very large order book when we look at our SUV portfolio. All the brands are in